Humans started having rulers around 5000 to 6000 years ago, when early civilizations formed in places like Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley. Before that, people lived in small groups and made decisions together. But as societies grew larger, it became harder to manage things like food, resources, and safety. Rulers like kings or pharaohs emerged to bring order and control, often claiming divine support to justify their power. They helped organize large projects like building cities and protecting against invaders. But then history has seen many types of rulers, some good and some very cruel. Today we will discuss some crazy rulers. But before I start, if you are new to the channel and love history, definitely subscribe to the History Facts show and press the bell icon. Thank you. The first one is Ivan the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible or Ivan the Fourth is called the crazy ruler because of his extreme and unpredictable behavior during his reign as the Tsar of Russia in the 16th century. Ivan was known for his extreme cruelty. He would punish people severely, even for small mistakes. He had many people executed, including nobles, his own friends, and even members of his family. One of his most famous acts was the massacre of Novgorod, where he ordered the killings of thousands of people in the city. Ivan became increasingly paranoid as he got older. He believed that people were plotting against him, so he started suspecting almost everyone. This led to him kill or punish people who he thought were betraying him, even if they hadn't done anything wrong. One of the most shocking events was when Ivan accidentally killed his own son, Ivan Ivanovich. In a fit of rage, Ivan struck his son with a pointed staff during an argument, causing a fatal wound. This act of violence against his own family made many people believe he had lost his sanity. Ivan created a secret police force called the Oprichniki, who would terrorize the population, arresting and executing anyone he saw as an enemy. They would often torture people before killing them. Some historians think Ivan might have suffered from mental illness, which contributed to his cruel actions. His behavior became more erratic and unpredictable as he got older, which made people believe he was crazy. The next ruler is Caligula. The third Roman emperor is often called a crazy ruler because of his bizarre, cruel, and unpredictable behavior during his reign. Caligula demanded to be worshipped as a living god, which was unusual and shocking even for the Roman emperors. He spent huge amounts of money on unnecessary things like luxurious parties and grand construction projects, which drained Rome's treasury. Caligula was infamous for his cruelty. He executed people for minor reasons, including members of his own family. He reportedly enjoyed watching people suffer and humiliated senators and nobles to show his power. He gave his horse, Incitatus, a luxurious stable and even planned to make it a consul top-ranking official, which people saw as a mockery of Roman traditions. According to some stories, he ordered his soldiers to attack the sea and collect seashells as trophies of victory. Some historians believe Caligula suffered from mental illness, possibly caused by a severe illness he had early in his reign. His erratic behavior may have been a result of this condition. His outrageous behavior, disrespect for traditions, and mistreatment of the Roman Senate and people led to widespread hatred. He was assassinated in 41 AD by his own guards, marking the end of his chaotic rule. The third one is King Ludwig II of Bavaria. King Ludwig II of Bavaria, also known as the Mad King, was called a crazy ruler mainly because of his eccentric behavior, obsession with building extravagant castles, and his unusual way of ruling. Ludwig II was passionate about art, music, and architecture. He spent huge amounts of money building fairy tale castles like Neuschwanstein, Lindenhof, and Herrenchiemsee. These castles were incredibly expensive and often had over-the-top designs inspired by his love for mythology and Wagner's operas. He was a big fan of the composer Richard Wagner. The construction of these castles drained the Bavarian treasury, causing financial problems for the kingdom. Ludwig II was shy and introverted. He disliked public appearances and avoided social events, preferring to live in solitude in his castles. He often conducted state affairs in an unusual way, relying on letters rather than meeting people face to face. He had a deep fascination with fantasy and fairy tales, who made him seem disconnected from reality. Ludwig was known for wandering through his castles at night and organizing private performances of Wagner's operas just for himself. In 1886, his ministers declared Ludwig mentally unfit to rule without a proper medical examination. They used his extravagant spending and odd lifestyle as evidence. He was dethroned and sent to a castle under supervision. Shortly after being deposed, Ludwig was found dead in a lake along with his psychiatrist, Dr. Gooden. The exact cause of his death remains a mystery. with theories ranging to murder. The next one is King George III. George III was initially a popular and hardworking king. He was dedicated to his country and wanted to be a moral and responsible leader. Later in his life, George III experienced episodes of severe mental illness. Historians believe he might have suffered from a condition called porphyria, a rare genetic disorder that can cause symptoms like extreme confusion, paranoia, manic episodes, and physical symptoms. His skin turned bluish, and he had severe abdominal pain. During these episodes, George III would often behave erratically. For example, he sometimes talked for hours without stopping, making no sense. He wrote long, rambling letters, and he became aggressive or overly emotional, which scared people around him. As his mental health worsened, it became hard for him to perform his duties as king. By 1811, he was declared officially unfit to rule. His son, George IV, took over as the prince's regent and ruled on his behalf. At the time, mental illness was not well understood. People didn't know about conditions like porphyria or bipolar disorder, so they thought George III was simply mad or crazy. Unfortunately, this reputation overshadowed many of his good things he did as king, like supporting the arts and science. Next one is Emperor Zhu Houzhao. Zhu Houzhao showed little interest in governing the empire. He preferred entertainment, adventure, and enjoying life over managing state affairs. Instead of attending meetings or making important decisions, he handed over responsibilities to his eunuchs or left the court to function on his own. One of his most bizarre acts was creating a pretend mini-kingdom within his empire. He called himself the General Zhou and built a military camp where he played the role of a soldier or general. He even forced officials to treat him as he were a separate person. The emperor was known for wasting huge amounts of money on parties, pets, and building unnecessary palaces. This drained the emperor's treasury and caused financial problems. Zhu Houzhao loved hunting and boating, but often put himself in risky situations. For example, he once fell into a river while boating, which eventually led to his death from illness at the young age of 30. Next one is King Charles VI. Charles VI's mental health began to decline in 1392, around the age of 24. The first major episode happened when he suddenly attacked his own knights while leading a campaign in Brittany. He killed several of them before being restrained. This marked the start of his erratic behavior. One of the most famous examples of his madness was his belief that he was made of glass and could shatter if touched. He wore padded clothing to protect him and forbade people from coming near him. This condition is now called glass delusion. Charles often forgot who he was or who his family members were. He sometimes didn't recognize his wife, Queen Isabel, or his children. At times, Charles would run through the palace or forest howling like a wolf. He would behave more like an animal than a king. At the time, mental illness wasn't understood. Some thought Charles were cursed or possessed by evil spirits. Physicians tried strange treatments, including herbal remedies and bloodletting, but none worked. So far today, don't forget to tell us how you felt. I really want to know. Let me know in the comments which crazy things you want to see next. Thanks a lot for watching the full video. See you in the next video. Stay well.